back. I also have knee injuries, shoulder injuries. I was pushing my body more than I should have been. I was over 300 pounds working in a heated environment, working every day, and I dropped all the weight, and then I ended up hurting myself even further from there. And then my doctor told me not to do anything over 20 pounds, so I went against her rules, and I did it anyways, and I kept injuring myself.
What kind of work does your father do?
He works as a U-Haul business associate and mechanic as well.
When did you live with your father?
I lived with my father in January, I believe it was 8th.
January of what year?
Of 2022, sorry.
After you have been disabled all this time because of all the heavy work.
Yes.
Let me give a general outline of what this case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
You and your fiancé were living where?
We were living with my father.
No, before you lived with your father.
My father.
Her father.
In what state?
Wyoming.
There come a time when your father either said it's enough or you decided that you were no longer happy in Wyoming?
It was a conflict with his girlfriend that came about.
Whatever it was. If it was a conflict with his girlfriend, your father told you to skedaddle.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And you called your father.
No, I didn't call my father.
Who did?
My father called me.
You mean just out of the blue?
Yeah, he does it at random every once in a
No.
while.
He just called you at about the same time that your fiancé's father told you to get out.
Yes, is what I believe. Anyways, I've had a few concussions, Your Honor, and I don't remember a lot.
Okay, we're going to get there. In any event, you had a discussion with your father that you didn't have a place to live, you didn't have a job, she didn't have a job, you had no money. Her father was kicking you out of the house, and he drove cross-country to get you.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month?
It was in January.
January of 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
How many miles did he drive to come and get you?
I think 1,000 miles, maybe.
Each way?
Each way, probably about 2,000 total, something like that.
Okay, so he drove 2,000 miles to come and get you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he brought you back to his house.
Yes, ma'am.
And you weren't working.
Yes, ma'am.
And the girlfriend wasn't working.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you weren't working, the girlfriend wasn't working, you had no money, so your father was taking care of your expenses.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And now you're suing him. And you're suing him for a host of things, which I'm going to give you a relatively short time to tell me about. But one of the things that your girlfriend, fiancé says is that your father owes you for wages because you worked for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Doing what?
I was doing U-Haul work, basically.
What is U-Haul work?
Oh, sorry. I'll explain. Sorry, ma'am. Basically, what we do
Not basically. I don't want to hear basically.
Sorry.
I want to hear what you were doing.
I would hook up U-Hauls. I would also clean and inspect all the vehicles.
Just a second. Hook up the U-Hauls.
Hook up the U-Hauls.
Clean and inspect them.
Clean and inspect them.
What does it involve in cleaning them?
Basically spraying down
Not basically.
Sorry, ma'am, sorry. We spray down all the...
Not we, you.
Yeah, sorry. I spray down every single surface of the innards of the vehicle, basically the steering wheel, the floor plates, the radio, everything.
And when you hook them up, explain how you hook something up.
How I have to hook something up is just backing up, lining up with axle.
So you'd have to drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're driving a car and backing up.
Yes, ma'am. And
So
then,
you're using a rear view mirror?
Yes.
And yourself. You're looking to see where you're backing up because you have to use both.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you hook them. Well, what else did you do for your father?
I also did paperwork for him, doing like inventory stocks and stuff like that.
Terrific.
Basically.
Not basically. I don't want to hear basically. Basically is a filler
Sorry,
word.
ma'am. What else was I doing? I would sweep, clean up his shop. I would do a lot of things.
Okay, all while you were unable to do anything else.
Yes, ma'am. I would.
Just a second.
What were you saying?
After your back issues, after your concussions, after whatever other injuries that you had from working someplace. By the way, you don't have a lawsuit pending against anybody, do you?
No, ma'am.
So it's just a question of fetching, other than maybe trying to collect a disability somewhere along the line from the federal government. You were able to hook up U-Hauls, clean them and sanitize them, sweep out the premises, do paperwork, but you can't work. I mean, because part of the lawsuit is about all this work that you did, but all while you're telling me that you're unemployable because of all the injuries that you had.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okie dokie. You understand how ridiculous that sounds to me.
Yes.
I only had one other case